Hi, I'm Benny Goodman. I'm the Neurotic guitarist, and I'm here with truly one of my favorite people, guitarist, and dare I say collaborator, Mr. Marty Friedman. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
So nice to officially meet you in person.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome back to the United States.
Nice to be here.
Why did you make us wait so long?
I didn't do it. It's the government.
Really?
It really is the government because with COVID, people couldn't get back into Japan if they left.
Oh, wow.
And there are certain countries that you could go to and go and come back. And unfortunately, the U.S. was not one of them.
Wow.
So the first chance that I got to tour the U.S. and go back to Japan was now. So we grabbed onto it, and now we're here and we're just loving it.
It is such a pleasure getting to talk to you because most people don't realize that for the last few years that we've been going back and forth and collaborating. We worked with Lost Symphony. We've made some music together, including a song called Take Another Piece, which features you, Alex Skolnick of Testament, and Nuno Betancourt of Extreme. And I have to tell you that doing that song, there's over 1,000 comments of people saying, I did not know that this existed, but I've always wanted this. What's it like playing with those guys on a tune? Does it affect you at all?
No, really. I'm really just into the tune. You know, those guys are super guitar players, so I know that they're going to do something cool. But for me, the way I approach any song is I just get into the song and what can I do with this song that would make it better than me not being on it in the first place. You know, if I'm going to add something to it, then that's what I concentrate on. What can I contribute, if anything? So I'm sure I don't even think I heard what they did until maybe the song was done anyway. So.
I don't think you did.
Yeah.
In fact, let me explain, because I had pretty much wrote you a long message saying that my friend Ollie Herbert of All That Remains had passed.
Oh, right.
And we had always joked around that our fictitious, who could we get to play on our songs? And it was Marty Friedman, and then Nuno, and then Alex. And then when he passed, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do that. And that's why that happened. I have to say it was interesting because I would send you a song, and then 2 days later you'd send me 60 tracks.
Uh-huh.
And you would say, hey, pick out what you like, and you would send so much genius that actually, when we put together this last record, Chapter 3 with Lost Symphony, we ended up taking all parts of the Buffalo because you would send us so many good takes that there were little bits of magic in each take that we said, you know what, maybe this should be something new. When you're writing and composing for another band, let's say like Lost Symphony, what's going through your head when you're doing 10 different takes? Are you just firing them out, or is everything meticulous in its own idea?
Well, I fire everything out and then I listen to it with a very critical ear. So if I wound up sending you anything, then it means that I've kind of signed off on it and I'm okay with it. So if I sent you, a bunch of good tracks, there's probably a lot of really bad tracks that you didn't get to hear. And that's one of the things that's kind of weird about doing, how do you call it, not in the same room type of thing.
You mean like you're in Japan and I'm in Boston?
And like if you're in the same studio, you hear the ideas as they come out, and you might latch on to something that I didn't even think was worth listening to, and then I'd give it a second listen and say, oh, I see where you're coming from, you know what I mean? So I kind of like being in the room with whoever's producing the project, because it's a whole nother set of ears to give me another way to look at stuff. But when I'm doing it myself, I can get a lot more done in a quicker amount of time because I just bang a whole bunch of stuff off, and then if I find something that's cool, that's what I send. I was just glad that you liked a lot of it, and your music is very ambitious, to say the least. They're like 7 or 10 minute songs.
There's the passive aggressiveness we were talking about off camera. I can't tell if ambitious is like a passive, like, oh yeah, it's 10 minutes long. I was waiting.
I don't know. I don't know these American buzzwords, man. I don't know what passive aggressive means.
Apparently,
I'm serious.
Well, how would you describe it, Corey?
So ambitious to someone might be like, almost sarcastic, like, oh, it's or disingenuous and like insane.
You guys are too negative, man.
We're from Boston. Have you been around here? It's cold.
Everyone's just like giving us shit.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's like you have this politeness about you, but as an American, we always look for a subtext.
Yeah. You won't get too much subtext with me. There's a case when that happens, but I can't think of it right now. But if like you ask me about something that I don't particularly care for, I'll say it's very good. Doesn't mean I like it. You know what I mean? It's like I can't stand eggs, for example. I really don't like them. But if
You're a breakfast morning guy.
If someone
Strong
makes a nice
opinions.
plate of eggs, I'll say that's a nice looking plate of eggs. But the subtext to that would be I wouldn't eat that for $1 million, you know what I mean? But like when it comes to like talking about details of songs and stuff, it's complete honesty, because it doesn't pay to like blow sunshine up someone's skirt, you know what I mean? So if you send me something that I would prefer not to play on, I will say that. If you say that you like something, and I'll listen to that and say then that's good because you're producing it. So it's time to be completely honest, you know what I mean? It's not like an interview where you have to like be nice, you know what I mean? Because you're making the record, there's no time to like be fooling around.
I think that's important. In fact, I tend to surround myself with people like Corey behind the camera that usually tell me this could be better and here's why, versus just blowing smoke up my ass, because how do you get better unless you have Marty Friedman telling you why it could be better?
Well, that doesn't mean it's better, it just means I like it more. Just because I like it doesn't mean it's better. My musical taste is out there, man. It's, you know, there is no better. I was doing it, so I want to like it, you know, if I'm going to send it to you, and I want you to like it. And I want us to both to like it when it's done, so that hopefully that's what we got. But what I meant by ambitious was there's not a lot of people going around making these 10-minute songs with all of these guitar orchestrations, and you have a bunch of guys who each one of those guys could do a lot on his own, and you want them to occupy the same space. That's very, very ambitious, and I think it deserves to be applauded, because not a lot of people think on those terms, you know what I mean? Usually, like, I don't do a whole lot of sessions, but when I do, it's usually like for a single or something. You play the backing, and then you play a solo, and it's a single. But like when Benny came to me, it was like, okay, I've got these songs. It's like Cacophony, but it's like in 2021 or whenever it was. And I'm like, wow, that sounds fun. So I'm going to put that hat on and go, okay, I can do that. I can take it where you probably want it to go. And you always gave me a lot of very nice feedback, and I really enjoyed the process very much.
Well, it's interesting you say Cacophony, because we did a song called The World Is Over with you and with Jeff Loomis. And secretly in my mind, I wanted to do kind of an homage to Jason. And I said to myself, who's the guy that I would think would be scary enough to go, not against you, but play in tandem? And there was Jeff Loomis. But the thing that was very interesting was you didn't hear any of his parts, and he didn't hear any of your parts. And you guys actually, we had sent you different versions of the song and played over a bunch of the same parts. When Corey and I brought up the tracks, hearing both of your minds come up with separate parts, that song is actually your separate ideas. Like when David Bowie and Freddie Mercury went in different rooms and wrote Under Pressure and put it back together. That's what we did with you and Jeff Loomis.
That's interesting. Sounds like a game show.
Well, you would know about that, wouldn't you?
That sounds like something we would do on Rock Fujiyama. Send a bunch of guys the same tracks, and then nobody hears each other, and then you play, and then you listen to it.
That's The World
fun.
Is Over from Lost Symphony. And again, it was sort of an idea because a lot of people had said it sounds like Cacophony. And I know that the first time
I hope they meant the band, and not the word.
Well, you know, I don't mind that word, because I'd rather you feel strongly one way or the other than just say, well, I forgot it.
I'll buy that.
You know?
Yeah.
Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?